Monday Night Raw has always been a place of order and chaos, balanced on a razor's edge. But last night? The edge didn't just sharpen, it shattered. We all saw the headlines. We all saw the breaking news alerts flashing across our phones. Bron Breakker returns to Raw after being suspended by Adam Pearce. On the surface, it sounds like a standard wrestling comeback. But what we witnessed wasn't a standard return. It was a hostile takeover. It was the birth of a monster, sanctioned by the very man who was supposed to keep the monsters in their cages. Tonight, on Wrestling Apocalypse, we are tearing back the curtain on the most controversial night in modern Raw history. We're looking at the psychological warfare, the secret meetings, and the moment Adam Pearce sold his soul to the devil in a singlet. Grab your gear, because we're diving deep into the wreckage. Let's rewind to the suspension. 3 weeks ago, Adam Pearce stood in that ring with a look of genuine fear in his eyes, or so we thought. Bron Breakker had just dismantled a locker room leader, leaving him in a heap of broken ribs and shattered dreams. Pearce grabbed the mic, his voice trembling, and shouted those words, "indefinite suspension." At the time, we praised Pearce. We said, finally, an authority figure with some backbone. But looking back, doesn't it feel a bit staged? Think about it. Bron didn't fight the security. He didn't spear Pearce into the shadow realm. He simply smiled a cold, predatory smirk and walked away. He knew something we didn't. He knew the suspension wasn't a punishment, it was a training camp. During those 21 days of silence, the wrestling world was a vacuum. No social media posts from Bron. No leaked gym footage. Nothing. But behind the scenes, sources within the WWE headquarters started whispering about late-night meetings in Pearce's office. Lights on at 3 a.m. Shredded documents. A shift in the atmosphere. Pearce, usually the harried middle manager trying to please everyone, started walking with a different gait. He stopped wearing the colorful ties. He stopped smiling at the fans. He became a man with a secret. Then came last night. The arena in Des Moines was packed to the rafters. The main event was a grueling Intercontinental Championship match, a three-way dance of pure technical brilliance. We had the champion, a man who prides himself on the work rate, facing off against two hungry challengers. The match was at its peak. The "this is awesome" chants were shaking the foundation of the building. Suddenly, the feed cut. For those watching at home, the screen went to black for 5 agonizing seconds. In the arena, the power didn't just flicker, it died. Total, suffocating darkness. You could hear the heartbeat of 10,000 people. And then, through the silence, came that sound. Not music. A siren. A low, distorted air raid siren that vibrated in your teeth. The red lights bled onto the stage. Not the bright, heroic red of the past, but a deep, crimson hue that looked like spilled wine. And there, silhouetted against the fog, stood the beast. Bron Breakker didn't run to the ring. He marched. Every step was deliberate. He looked bigger, not just physically, but his presence felt like it occupied the entire room. He didn't have the colorful singlets of his father or uncle. He was draped in matte black. No logos. No branding. Just a man-sized weapon. He slid into the ring while the three competitors were still trying to find their footing in the dim light. What followed wasn't a wrestling sequence, it was a massacre. The first challenger tried to throw a punch. Bron didn't even flinch. He caught the arm, snapped the man into a belly-to-belly suplex that looked like it was launched out of a cannon, and sent him flying over the top rope. The second challenger, the high flyer, tried a springboard. Bron caught him midair, literally plucked him out of the sky and drove him into the mat with a powerbomb so fierce the ring boards groaned in protest. But it was what happened next that chilled the spine of every viewer. The Intercontinental Champion, battered but defiant, stood his ground. He looked Bron in the eye, ready to fight for his title. And that's when the music hit again. But it wasn't Bron's music. It was the sharp, corporate sting of Adam Pearce's theme. Pearce walked out, not in a suit, but in a black tactical vest over a dark shirt. He wasn't carrying a clipboard. He was carrying a steel chair. He walked down the ramp with a look of cold, calculating precision. He entered the ring, stood behind the champion, and for a second, we thought he was there to restore order. We thought he was going to hand the chair to the champ to defend himself against the suspended Breakker. Instead, Pearce handed the chair to Bron. The silence in the arena was deafening. The champion turned around, saw the betrayal, and the look on his face, it was heartbreaking. Bron didn't use the chair. Not yet. He dropped it, letting the metal clang against the canvas. He wanted to do this with his bare hands. He locked in the Steiner recliner, but he didn't just pull back, he twisted. He looked directly at Adam Pearce while the champion's face turned purple, his hand feebly tapping the mat. Pearce didn't signal for the bell. He didn't call for help. He stood there, arms crossed, nodding like a proud father watching his son win a spelling bee. Only this wasn't a school event. This was a public execution of a career. When the champion finally went limp, Bron released the hold. Pearce picked up the Intercontinental title, wiped a smudge off the gold, and handed it to Bron Breakker. Not because he won a match, there was no referee, no official start, but because Pearce decided the rules no longer applied to his Anomaly. Pearce, you asked for order. You asked for a leader who makes the tough calls. Well, meet your new order. Bron Breakker didn't fail Raw. Raw failed him. So I took him away. I broke him down. And I rebuilt him into the solution to every problem this locker room has. You wanted the monster? You've got him. And God help anyone who stands in our way. The crowd was in a state of paralysis. Was this a heel turn for Pearce? Absolutely. But it's deeper than that. This is a breakdown of the corporate structure of WWE. If the man in charge of the contracts and the matches is the one weaponizing the most dangerous athlete on the roster, who can stop them? We saw the locker room's reaction on social media immediately after. Top stars tweeting, "This can't be real," and "Is anyone safe?" The Maverick, the man Bron originally sent to the hospital, posted a single image, a silhouette of himself training in a dark garage, the caption reading simply, "I'm coming back for my pound of flesh." But can the Maverick, or anyone else for that matter, handle this version of Bron? This isn't the guy who was doing backflips and barking like a dog. This is a cold-blooded mercenary with the full backing of the front office. Think about the resources at his disposal now. Private jets, custom training facilities, and an official who can handpick his opponents and manipulate the rulebook in his favor. We are looking at a shadow era of Monday Night Raw. An era where the championship isn't won, it's taken. Where the rankings don't matter, only the favor of Adam Pearce does. It's a terrifying prospect for the wrestlers, but for us, the fans, it's the most compelling television we've had in a decade. Let's talk about the fan perspective. On the forums last night, the split was wild. One side is calling for Pearce's firing, saying this ruins the integrity of the sport. The other side? They're buying the new black Anomaly shirts by the thousands. There is a primal urge to watch a wrecking ball swing, and Bron Breakker is the heaviest wrecking ball we've ever seen. What happens next week? The rumors are swirling that Pearce is going to make it official. He's going to strip the current champions and reevaluate the entire roster. He wants to build Raw in the image of Breakker strong, silent, and violent. We might be seeing the end of the sports entertainment era and the beginning of the survival of the fittest era. As we wrap up this emergency broadcast, I want you to look at the eyes of Bron Breakker in that closing shot from last night. There was no joy in his triumph, no celebration, just a man looking for his next victim. And with Adam Pearce pointing the way, nobody, and I mean nobody, is safe. The apocalypse isn't coming, folks. It's here. And it's wearing a black singlet. Narrator, this has been a massive shift in the landscape, and I want to hear your voice in the comments. Is Adam Pearce the greatest villain in wrestling right now, or is he just a genius businessman? Does the Maverick stand a chance in the no-holds-barred rematch, or are we just waiting for the inevitable? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the chaos of Raw, do the right thing, hit that like button to show your support, and subscribe to Wrestling Apocalypse to stay ahead of the curve. We'll be here every step of the way as this story unfolds. Keep your eyes on the ring, but watch your back.